And we're live. Good morning, good day, good evening. Welcome. Thank you for joining our live stream. Today we're digging into a topic that is as misunderstood as it's powerful, grants in Web3. We will look in what's broken, what works just as it should be, and what's most importantly, what founders like here on stage or like founders that watch us in the audience, what they can do to win grants. And joining me today is an impressive set of people involved in the grant space, specialists, founders of grant winning projects. I'd love to make a quick round of introductions, just to basically tell me what's your main expertise in crypto and what does your project do. Whoever wants to start first. Yevhen, what about you?
Yes, thank you for introduction yourself. As for me, I'm Yevhen, co-founder of Lumis, and we are mostly specializing in DeFi, decentralized exchanges, Lightning Protocol, perpetual futures. And our journey in crypto of our startups started with a grant from Open for developing on top of Uniswap and Open. It was back in 2022. It was like a great success for us to get the support from such a big project. But recently we also get support from other more famous projects like Uniswap, Morpho, Ethena, and continue to build our own Uniswap hooks and pushing DeFi further.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Pleasure having you here on stage. Dennis.
Sure. Thank you so much. So my name is Dennis. I'm with Areta, and Areta is a digital asset advisory firm. We work in two different units. We have the investment banking unit. They work on M&A, secondaries, and like capital markets, everything for Web3 native companies. And then we have the on-chain unit. This is where I mainly work at. And we work with DAOs and foundations, in particular also on growth programs and like what you would maybe also consider calling like grant programs. In this context, we are also working with Uniswap in particular on a security subsidy fund. So happy to share some insights in a second.
Awesome, thank you very much. Vlad, how about you? Welcome on stage.
Yeah, hello. I just like in the middle of product release, so I'm technical co-founder of ASPIS protocol. We just like released our first AI managed non-custodial vault. Got the grant with the help of Areta from Arbitrum Foundation, I believe, and yeah, that was really helpful. Right now the contracts come to life like the previous version, but the current one is being still audited. So we built like non-custodial vault similar to like centralized exchange account, but without a SEX involved, that have like basically ability to deposit your funds, and you have AI assistant who is managing it, as well as together with different abilities like limit orders, stop losses, everything that helps to like bring similar to centralized exchange experience in non-custodial way with the interface abstraction in Telegram. So this is like, I think, pretty interesting.
Definitely is. Looking forward to hearing more insights from you as a founder of grant winning project on how on your experience and your struggles, your wins. Aisha, welcome on stage. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well, thank you. So I'm Aisha Allam, CTO at Takadao. So at Takadao, we're building the TLD, the Life Insurance Association. It's an association that is completely community-based. And the main goal is to give you the tools for you to get your financial freedom, right? So top things to know about us is that, again, we're community first. We're Sharia compliant. So another word for that is we're highly ethical. We're also online and borderless, so anyone can join. Anyone who wants financial freedom can join wherever they are on the globe. And we do this through providing 4 main core tools. So our platform is on the blockchain. We provide a community fund. But that it's an alternative to life insurance, right? We don't say we're a life insurance because we're not. Number 2, we also provide farewell services, another also known as burial services. And we also provide a credit card, or you can say a crypto stablecoin, prepaid with stablecoin, so you can get all that money, and use it in your daily life. And lastly, but not least, we're also going to be launching a
That's unfortunate. We have the connection back. Apologize for the technical issues. Maybe while let's just give Aisha a few more seconds, and while
Hello?
Aisha is yeah. Oh, hello, hi there. Yeah, we just lost you for a quick second.
Yeah,
So
sorry
you
about
said
that.
last
So
but not
I was
least-
saying that so these 4 core products, they bring the Life DAO Association to life.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We're looking forward to the discussion. Most definitely, you have a thing or two to share with the founders and people who are interested in getting grants or giving grants. Welcome. Last but not least, Vlady, my colleague from Hacken. How are you doing? Please introduce yourself.
My pleasure. I think I've met most of people here. I'm overseeing our relations with Arbitrum and Uniswap Foundation, among other things. So selected myself a specialty on different company and startup support programs, such as grants, builder programs, incubation accelerators. So we see that there are a lot of I would say techniques and processes, workflows that have been taken from quote unquote Web2 startup support systems, but we see how they evolve basically each half a year, each year, adapting to specific needs of Web3. We see interesting hybrids of both grants and incubation programs, like we've seen with Uniswap Hook Incubator, gradually transited into first cohort and second cohort of UFSF. So yeah, happy to shed more light on such interesting topics. And what excites me about it is Areta being here, proposing and driving really grounded approaches to quantifying, measuring outcomes, and make it in a win-win-win-win situation for everybody involved. So let's rock it.
Hell yeah, let's rock it. So yeah, for sure, Areta has been basically tackling this the idea that traditional grant programs in crypto somewhat fall short, and they have been tackling it with a new approach called smart capital activation. So I'd love Dennis to maybe can you briefly explain what capital activation, smart capital activation is, and how is it different from usual capital allocation model?
Sure. Happy to shed some light on this. Maybe like a small analogy will help. So I think from traditional grant programs, you can think of like a very generic job posting, right? Like looking for someone helping us in marketing. So the applications you will receive will be also not really tailor-made to your actual needs, right? But you will have someone that maybe has print marketing knowledge and others have online experience knowledge and so on, right? With the smart capital activation approach, we want to tailor-made grant programs to the very specific needs of an ecosystem, and then have multiple like feedback loops built in so that we can constantly check whether the parameters we set initially are also what the ecosystem actually needs, right? So I think one of the most important things of those smart capital activation programs is first have like a in-depth strategic analysis. What does the ecosystem actually need? A very good example for this, for me, is the Uniswap Foundation Security Fund, where we launched last year in, I believe, October, just when like V4 hooks were just launched, right? So we had like an influx of developers that building this new product, and it was clear, hey, all of them will need an audit, right? So the need for a program that would subsidize audit fees, which can be quite high for some projects, was rather apparent. The second one that I believe is also important, that the approach of traditional grant programs oftentimes is a spray and pray. You know, you give out money to projects with some kind of broad idea what should be done with the money, but there is no real accountability. There is also no real North Star actually also for the projects on how to actually, you know, how to take care of the money. The more specific you are in the first step, you know, in trying to determine what actually should be achieved, also the more clearer it is for projects what can be done with the money, and you can then tie this to very tangible outcomes that should be achieved. For the security fund, for instance, this is rather easy to do because we subsidize audits, right? So like the measurable outcome is, you know, the audit is conducted. This is rather easy to do, but you can have it also in other growth programs too. But again, this is like very much tied to first setting the right strategic alignment in the first place. Taking this together, it's very important to have it just like the job posting. The more tailored it is, the more beneficial it will be to the ecosystem. And this is, I think, probably like the last, like maybe the fourth point I'm mentioning now. I believe successful programs, they are not static, but they are rather dynamic. So, you know, you have the cohort first, you learn something, you take data. For instance, how successful was the program for the project? What can be improved? How did the projects that I selected behaved afterwards? You know, did I maybe make wrong choices? Were the projects I did not select, in the end, did they outperform the ones that I selected, right? And taking all of those data and putting this into a feedback loop then for cohort 2, cohort 3, and so on, you know, like always making sure to not also forget about the projects once they, you know, once the application is done and you send the money, but tracking a little bit what they do and building this into like a comprehensive framework. I think those are the 4 main points, at least from my experience and my point of view.
Absolutely, the spray and pray analogy, yeah, honestly, sounds like a real life situation that we see right now, just happening in traditional VC approach in crypto, where you just do exactly this. So the more tailored the approach to program to grant is, the more result we can see, and this can apply to grant program authors, but also to projects who apply for those grants, because you kind of have to tailor your, maybe, or you have to either be able to properly communicate your needs or properly communicate your value as a project to apply for a grant to successfully get it. So maybe there are some maybe pieces of the insights or some things, aspects to how founders can tailor their communication or maybe their project, maybe their needs to these smart capital activation programs.
Sure. I guess this is a question for me. I didn't fully get that, but I will answer nevertheless, even if it was for someone else.
And if I may add, maybe you can give examples on specific ecosystems, right? So the question is, how do an applicant, aka project, can analyze needs of specific ecosystem that they want to apply to, they are contributing to. On examples of Uniswap, for example, as you've announced, okay, I'm not sure if it's okay to share it, but you were mentioning that some programs are going to be recurring with, so could you share on Arbitrum, Uniswap, maybe other ecosystems that you're fine sharing with, what their needs are and how to analyze them? Yeah.
Sounds good. Maybe let's just like stick with Uniswap just because it's like the program that is like very prominent at the moment. First of all, this tailoring only works if the grant program is not super generic, right? So this also means that this tailor-made solution that we try to always implement is not only for the benefit of the ecosystem, but also for the benefit of the projects. Because, I mean, you know it from maybe your own experience, if the job description that you apply for is very, very specific, it's very easy for you to, you know, get your CV in place and remove the experience that's not so relevant and emphasize things that are relevant, right? So the more specific, the better also for you as a project. In the case of Uniswap or any other ecosystem we work on, I think it's always good as a founder to understand like the broader context of this project. Like what is like the general movement in the ecosystem? Where is this embedded? For the Uniswap Foundation Security Fund, as I mentioned, the fund was implemented when V4 hooks got introduced, and now was also renewed like when like Unichain picked up, right? So a project that has a V4 hook that builds on Unichain is probably a project that this program wants to attract, right? Whereas if you are doing some V3 work for like, you know, the V3 deployment, maybe it's not so relevant for us. So I think understanding the broader context is one thing that I think is always very, very important. The second thing, I really like to use AI in all kinds of different things, and I think AI can be a super good helping tool. If you use AI, just make sure that it doesn't sound like AI. You know, I mean, you can prompt the model to, you know, output the responses accordingly. But it's good also to double check. You know, just ask like unless it's like super confidential, just copy paste your application in the model and just ask like, hey, you know, like imagine you are like a reviewer or examiner, like what do you think is missing here, and just edit. I think this is an important thing. And something, but it might just be personal, I don't like so much, but this is my personal opinion, if questions are answered with a link to the white paper. It's a little bit lazy. And for instance, for the security subsidy fund, I mean, we're handing out rather big tickets. You know, if you think of like normal security audit costs, they are pretty expensive, right? So it's almost like a small angel or VC check. And so if you're like, you know, wanting to get 100K from us, and you just answer every single question with like a link to your white paper, it doesn't make me super excited about your project if I have the feeling that you don't want the money so much that you don't even spend like 20 minutes on compiling the answers, and maybe just copy pasting it out of your white paper, no problem. But just a link to the white paper is maybe a little bit not enough.
Big no-go, absolutely. And for we have 208 people tuning in to our live stream. I would like to welcome everyone. And if you're a founder, if you have ever applied for a grant, if you are looking to apply for a grant, please share your experience in the chat, ask questions, and after we will finish our original schedule, maybe we'll have some questions answered. So welcome everyone, 210 people. Definitely ChatGPT and maybe any AI can improve your chances of getting that grant, and even just to analyze if your project even is in the target audience for this or that grant. There's definitely plenty of things that you can do. From the guys here on stage, the founders of grant winning projects, have you leveraged AI? What was your winning strategy in your opinion? Was there just one single piece of a deal breaker in your opinion, or just in short, what do you think helped your application succeed? Whoever wants to take this question, guys, it's
can I take it?
Absolutely.
All right, so I second everything Denise said. You really need to show to the committee who's going to be evaluating your application that you did your due diligence and that you're actually putting effort, including not referencing the white paper. Like he said, you should reference, but you have to give maybe a summary of the answer. The least thing you can do is copy paste something out of the white paper. Number two, you really need to be, again, data driven, because these committee members, they're reading your answers, but they're not in your team. They don't know what's happening within your team, and so you have to show them that, hey, I did the work. And if you want to say, well, based on this assumption, how do you prove that assumption, right? Did you run simulations? Did you do R&D? Are you referencing the market? So you have to tell the committee that, based on our assumptions, and we have like good proof, good references to lay these assumptions down. And based on this, we made this decision, right? And one thing that would really help is you have to involve your entire team. When you're filling out these grants, it's not a one-person job, right? It's a collective effort, and especially for security grants that are granting like above 100K, their questions are really comprehensive. And for us, for example, for the TLD, we had the product ship in, we had growth, we had the underwriting team also provide like references to the underwriting model, the diagrams and whatnot, and we had to answer questions that sometimes you don't really even know the answer for yet, right? Because maybe you're not that advanced. Maybe you're still in an early phase of your project, but you still have to try. You have to put some effort in, do some sort of R&D, talk to your team, maybe get a consultation as well. That effort is important. That's, I think, what helped us get the Arbitrum subsidiary fund. We put in a lot of effort, and we made sure to answer like every point and from every possible angle.
If I may add here, really good point on the questions that you were not answering before, but here is the opportunity, because Hacken was in the application phase, which probably doesn't come by surprise. We're also applying and bidding. And the level of questions that Dennis, together with, I assume, Arbitrum DAO, compiled, some of them were tricky, like really, but being able to communicate in advance the maybe previous hack incidents that happened with everyone, or showcase not only the situation itself, but how you approach, how you evolve, and how your processes and mindset evolves after it. So a quality application gives a sign or two about the approach of the organizing party, which also gives you a clear, is it a fit or if it's not?
Most definitely.
I also had like to emphasize like the timing thing. So I think it's really important to get like application at the right time, because if you will be like too early or like too late, like it doesn't feel like all the effort that you're putting into this application, as like it was said earlier. It's like not just like 1 hour exercise that you're doing just for the sake of lottery or something like that. The level of question is like really makes you into it. And in our case, we got like this referral like from the ecosystem that we were like placing our product into. And in such case, like it makes sense for us like to fill in the form, right? So otherwise, if I will receive like the link to this form and it will be like a couple of hours of multiple people to put it up, all the information, I would say that I have like other things to do, right? So it's not just feeling like some SurveyMonkey stuff or something like that. So I would say that timing is quite important here. Also, like getting to know with the ecosystem that you're participating in is also like very important. So, and I believe that there is like not so random choice of these projects that are getting in funding. So I think this all together is just like feel in a way like natural.
And so you mentioned timing quite a few times. Was that something that you were having on the back of your mind throughout the entire period of making that grant application, like to nail that timing? Like how did you approach that?
And I mean, it just was the stage. So we were like releasing our product and like the initial version, and it was like just the right time, because the work on the contract is almost finished. So it's of course like you need to finish the work on the contracts before you will audit them. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense, right? So also I believe that there was need in this audit, and we like just connected with the ecosystem. So like in general, I mean, it's just like the right time when I see this application. And I also get like follow on like from multiple sources that, hey man, like there is like a thing going on, so you can apply if you want to, right? So, and like, I mean, you will not also like find it if the time is not right, because it will be outside of your focus zone. So what I'm saying is that like we were like starting to considering like this security thing, and we also were like in the process of communicating with Arbitrum portal and like some other partners that we were like hanging out at the conferences, and like basically it's, I mean, what I'm saying is that it just like should feel natural. It's not about like you're putting the list of the grants you want to like participate in. I mean, for us, it's just like natural, like basically find us.
Yeah, makes
I guess
sense.
it's also a little bit on the teams, you know, to do their own due diligence on the suitability of programs to their specific stage in their project journey. You know, like if you are a project that's just at idea stage, you would not apply for funding for like at like a VC, you know, that is known to only do deals Series B onwards, but you would have a look first at those, you know, pre-seed VCs or angels first, and similar, just to apply to grants that are not really like suited for your stage is a waste of time, most likely.
For sure, and there's always this, you know, part in whatever endeavor we do, there is this part of luck, but at the same time you have to be lucky sometimes. But if you don't put in the work, if you're not prepared to seize the opportunity, then even being lucky doesn't really matter, right? So you it can be a good moment for your project to apply. It can be the grant that focuses on, that can help you with something that you actually really need. but if you aren't ready to put in the work, or if you don't put in the proper amount of preparation, it won't matter. So it's very all-encompassing thing. Yevhen, what's in your success story? What do you think helped you and your applications?
I think the most important thing is to show that you indeed have required technical qualification, that you can indeed execute what you're asking for if in the context of security grants, is that you indeed understand how it works and you have proven technical record of previous projects. But also the second part, I think, beside of qualification and just having experience with in the space, it's about showing how much potential value you can bring to this project. In case of Uniswap, it can be, for example, trading volume or TVL. In case of Arbitrum, in general, mostly towards TVL and growing composability and creating new use cases and new value for this ecosystem. So this is the most important, is to show in a very clear and concise way, like don't overuse AI here, because AI most likely will just throw a lot of points that you can put in your form, but you need to be really concise and clear about what value you can bring to this ecosystem, and why this project or why this committee should choose you over other projects.
And the quick follow-up, Yevhen, for you, was there something like most definitely there was, but what was the unexpected, maybe the challenging part? Was it getting all the data together? Was it maybe different founders had different angles on the same vision on how to apply, or what was the challenging? Was there any challenging parts?
I can say that there were some challenges in a sense that we can overcome. We applied for different grants, and for example, sometimes it might be mismatch between us as a project and project who can give us a grant, because we understand wrongly their objectives. Their goal was completely different, and this is why they rejected us with a grant. So we have quite long conversation, but in the end it was a mismatch. But in general, I'm less on the technical side, but more on the research side and business development side. But I have a founder who is a developer, and when it's about security questions or technical questions, you need to consult with your technical team. It's not that you just put in about your business perspectives or values that you can bring, but you also need to make sure that you showed your expertise correctly. Because if you're not a technical person, you might put some wrong information or misunderstand some part of the project who you're asking grant for, and it will be immediate no for you.
For sure.
Yevhen, and since you're more on the research side, how would you recommend analyzing ecosystem needs? So, for example, Uniswap is a DEX, so it's all about finances and economics. So, increase of liquidity, increase of trading volume is definitely a plus. But for ecosystems like Arbitrum, maybe Optimism, Avalanche, others, well, there is usually a forum where you can spend years looking for information. Also, some companies do yearly or quarterly reports, usually yearly, about their aims and goals. But if you are somewhere close to end of the year and new report and vision article wasn't put out yet, how would you research it? What kind of tools? Maybe if you can answer generically, or you can have special stories to tell, maybe with some examples.
Yes, so typically it's you need to understand what is the project and what this project is doing. For example, we know about Uniswap, but for example, we also received grant from Morpho, and with Morpho Lightning Protocol, we know that they are looking for TVL. And for them, attracting more TVL towards their product, it's the most important thing. So you need, in your application, grant application, you need to emphasize how much TVL you can bring, and how much, and what is the use case of your product, and how you can improve this ecosystem. As for other projects, they typically have requests for proposals. For example, Arbitrum or other big blockchain ecosystems, they all have requests for proposals where you can find what they're looking for and what they're most interested in. Or, for example, you can, if there is no request for proposals, you can also just listen for founders, what they're tweeting about, what they're talking about during podcasts, and most likely they will tell you about their next steps, what's their roadmap, and you can try to find a match between your project and this roadmap, and how you can help this bigger project than yours to achieve success, like to create this win-win situation, because it's all about how you can bring more value by putting your developer time or some of your expertise into this project.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. If I'm able to bring some, if I'm bringing value to you, you should have no problems with giving me a share of that value. So that's how value creation works. That's actually a question to the stage, to all of you guests, is: was there a moment when you were applying, where you were designing anything related to grants, when you thought, oh, I think this may not happen? Like, maybe the hurdle that would have maybe stopped you was looking like an unsurmountable wall, but was apparently conquered. Was there, or was it rather a smooth sailing when you understand, oh, it's a match, and boom, boom, you apply and you're in? Like, was it that easy, or there was still some kind of hurdles? Who wants to tackle that?
I mean, I can of course not talk about the projects, but I think the idea of you know the requirements, you apply and you get the grant or the subsidy. In practice, might be a little bit different, because of course funds are also limited, right? And there's only so many funds you can allocate as a program manager that are like allocated to your program, right? So even if you're like a very good a very good project, and you hit the requirements, it might be that you don't get the grant in the end because there are no more resources to allocate. So I guess from my point of view, you can never be so sure that you'll get the grant. At the same time, also because of this, you should never be sad that you don't get the grant, because it doesn't mean that your project is bad. This is like some things, sometimes, founders then reach out and ask, hey, like, do you think my project is bad? That is not the case at all. It's typically like a good project. It's just that, funds are limited and you cannot allocate funds to each and every project.
For sure. Made me think, when a project applies, for now, usually it's you are looking as a founder to get some sort of funding. But is there any what else? What kind of support would a founder want, and why? Like, is it? Obviously, money is the key factor, right? But maybe some advisory things, maybe the infrastructural, just the networking opportunities. Like, what kind of value would we expect as founders from from grants besides money? If that question makes sense for you guys.
Yeah, I think it should comes together, right? Because I'm worried about all these acceleration and incubation programs that right now offered by a lot of different parties, and this money provision is something like pay to play, and also shows very much interest from the party that is involved with you, that he actually have a stake or paid for something, or he will be with you, right? So in the sense, if someone put money where the mouth is, you better looking for their advice, and you see they have monetary interest of providing this level of advice and networking opportunity. Otherwise, there are a lot of I would say opportunity hunters right now and hustlers that basically showing serving network hub or whatever it is. But there are a lot of these people I mean, we internally in the team call them gypsies, right? Because they're basically knowing everyone, hanging out with everyone. You can see them everywhere, but they also try to onboard as many projects as possible, and they providing this level of mentorship or something like that on the networking side. I mean, this might be good, but I would say that it lacking of effort or responsibility, and you have limited time. So I think that the founders should be very aware about the how limited their time is and how precious it is when they're spending it on some opportunities for some people or some initiatives, right? Because it's I mean, and this, when it comes together, this support of with the money together with the networking and the right people and the people who are giving you advice, they are actually put their money or give you some monetary help or invested in you or something like that, you treat them differently. And from all the acceleration programs or grant support or even investment we have done so far, the most useful one, of course, from the one who put some money or give some incentive into the project. And I believe that this never comes one or another, because money without the help is also useless, especially in the early stage. When you're early stage, investors, probably they know better and they help better, and if they're experienced investor, they have a lot of different contacts and doors that you cannot just open without them. And in such a case, I would say that it always should come together, especially in early stages. And this is how it works, because they put money into your company and they know how they can help it to grow, right? And in a sense, they can know how they can help to become better. And this is something that I believe that should be together.
I want to add to that. That's a good point. He's talking from the investor's point of view, but I think there has to be flexibility from both sides. So if we're talking about grants currently, the way it works is you apply for a grant, and then they give you that money, and then you do the security audit, and then goodbye. But in reality, projects work the same way grants work. So maybe Denise, you mentioned that there's a feedback loop, right? It's the same thing for a project. It's the same thing for a product and a startup. Sometimes a startup needs to pivot, and if it doesn't pivot, it's goodbye for that startup. Again, startups have a limited funding, coming from their VCs and investors and whatnot. And maybe let me talk about us, as a use case. So for the TLD, we've built a sophisticated model. It's an algorithm that is supposed to provide self-sustenance to the fund, right? So whenever someone applies, again, we're a community. So your contribution as a member, it goes into the fund. And if someone is at risk or someone needs help, the algorithms run. We pay out, we make a payment to the person who's either died or maybe requires a farewell service or whatnot. And so there's this algorithm that is running all the time to make sure that there's self-sustainability. This algorithm is patented, it's new. It's never been in the market. What does this mean for us? It means for us that, and this algorithm is also on the blockchain, it means that whenever we upgrade this algorithm, whenever we discover something new about our customers, something about the market, we have to upgrade the model, and then we have to conduct a security audit. and then the security audit's going to cost us what, another 100,000, means that we have to look for another grant. Otherwise, we're not going to survive. And this is why I think there has to be some sort of flexibility when it comes to these maybe auditors themselves. About maybe if there's a partnership, perhaps we can continue, auditing the versions of our product, but don't charge us 100K. Why? Because your team is familiar now with our code, and so when we're upgrading, it's not going to be the original estimate. It can't be the original number of days. Maybe the lines of code are more. That's true, and usually these security audits, they charge you based on lines of code and complexity. The lines of codes are a little more. The complexity is the same, but you've worked on our project before. And so you're going to spend less time auditing because you're familiar with us and our code. And I think without this flexibility, projects are going to run out of funding pretty fast, especially if they're the R-type, where you have this algorithm that needs to be audited and you cannot go live. You cannot be on production on the mainnet without an audit. We're not Web2, right? It's Web3. Security audits are like a huge, expensive barrier of entry, and you really need support on that, front of things.
It's a brilliant point, and it definitely is. It feels like quite a high barrier of entry for startups, and at least some communities have this opportunity of applying for grants and somewhat making it, even in such conditions. Even though, of course, the industry could see some changes. But is it the question to the audience is does it apply to like this all-encompassing when you apply for a grant? Like, what's your mostly, like, maybe I'm interested in hearing like Yevhen's, for example, point of view. And is it actually you have the money and it's goodbye, or there is a closer, there are some bonds that are being made, some connections, is it just a come and go one-off thing, or there is this deeper additional value to the projects rather than just funding?
Yeah, so it's different with different projects. So, for example, when we received our first grant from Open, it was mostly about to be more closer and to work closer, to make closer cooperation between our projects. Because with a grant, it's kind of it's a public validation of your product from this team. And if before that you can just be like in contact with the team, but after grant, it's kind of validation and also responsibility towards the team who provide you with this grant. And for example, with the security audits, it's typically they provided us with a grant, it's goodbye because it's just one work story. But if it's a project where you collaborate more, not only towards security, but also, for example, about co-marketed initiatives or consultancy in general, or research or collaborating towards new products. So it's very different with every project. But I would say that if it's some big project, like for example Arbitrum, it's very unlikely that they will collaborate with you closely. They will provide you with support, track your KPIs, provide you with the funding, and that's it. But if it's some kind of smaller project who is not that big yet, you can sometimes expect closer collaboration. But you need to understand that they're also founders who have a lot of stuff to do, and it's not their responsibility to help you. It's good if you can help them, but don't expect that it will be like free consultancy or very, very close collaboration.
Interesting to hear that from you, as you've been to the Uniswap Hook incubator before, right?
Yeah.
So would you say it rather helped you to either establish better connections or gain a better understanding of Uniswap aims to later apply? Because not everyone who was in the incubator got to the security cohort, right? And vice versa.
I think it's mostly about validation of your technical expertise, because we are winners of 2 Uniswap incubators. In the first one, we just participated and won the prize, but in the second one, we just participated in the final hackathon, just to build our product, different kind of product. And this is important because you show the committee that you indeed understand Uniswap before, you indeed have technical expertise and received not grant but prizes from the teams that they're trusted. And this is mostly about this technical validation and to proven this, like having this proven track record.
Good point. So if you're not a project that's been on the market for several years, as I know it is in the case for Lumis, you have to prove yourself in other ways. So tip is to look for all open, public, offline, online events that where you can shine for the ecosystem.
I would recommend to start with a hackathon, to participate, to get this feeling of vibes of, because hackathon, it's a good practice also for pitching your product. It's not only about your technical expertise, how good you can build, but also about delivering a pitch or showing value, what you can offer to this product, to this project ecosystem. And I would recommend to start with a hackathon, and only after, for example, a win or prize, receiving prize, you can go for grant program, and you can show already that you have some track record, that you can build this stuff. Because you need to understand that there is so much developers and everybody just looking for money, and you need to be better than them.
Is that the direction where you think is the grant landscape is going to evolve in the next few years? Like people who look not only for money but also some meaningful connection and impact.
Yeah, I think you need, it will be evolved towards like the competition will become higher and higher. If only a few years ago grants program was not so popular because it was easier to receive VC funding, actually. But right now there's so much developers, so much projects. Everybody's just hunting for investors, hunting for money, and you will need to show your previous experience, that you are indeed can build this stuff, because a lot of projects received grants but never deliver the product, unfortunately.
This gives a good link to accountability and impact measurement. So Dennis, from the report on smart capital activation that you were putting out a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month, you highlight how lack of expertise, maybe I'm putting not the right words, just phrasing it. I remember it was kind of revolving around lack of expertise of reviewers, basically experts who are deciding who are assessing each project, each application, comparing it to their checklist, basically. So you're saying the delegates work, quote unquote, long hours for low pay to judge the applications. So can you shed more light on it? And like follow-up question would be, I was surprised to see it, because people and individuals and the type of work they do, the cost of mistake can be millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars if they misjudge the project, or they award the wrong project, quote unquote. So yeah, that was surprising. Is there any data you can share, and how did you even acquire this information? Again, about the state of the delegates.
Perfect. So first of all, I can actually not say so much in depth about this because I did not write the report myself. But typically how we do those reports is that we reach out to ecosystems and conduct surveys and interviews. So like that as like a little disclaimer potentially. And indeed, what you mentioned. So comes now back again to what I said in the very beginning. You have this very generic like job posting style grants program, and then you receive all kinds of different applications, and then it's difficult for someone, or it's even difficult to onboard someone helping you in assessing the applications because the variety is so big, you know? Like imagine, going back to the analogy of like, you need like someone helping in marketing, find a person that could help you assess like, you know, all kinds of different marketing positions by one person, you know? So the more tailor-made your like call for applications is, the more tailor-made your approach is and the target that you want to achieve, the more specific you can onboard like special people that help you. And I guess you have to, as an examiner, you have to dig in deep, you know, yourself also to understand, because I mean, in the end, as a grant program operator, you want to hand out grants to the like most exciting, most innovative projects, you know? So most likely they know a lot more about the topic than yourself, right? So if you just do this like very generic, like, I don't know, I like the project or I don't like it, you know, just like this like very like gut feeling decision, this cannot lead to good results. But because you work in this like innovative sphere, you have to be also really deep into the tech, the business models, and so on. And it might be, and this is the case from time to time, that you need to have like a second opinion also on things if they get like very, very technical. Or for instance, for us, when we evaluated the security auditors, when it gets into those very like auditing specific questions that we, of course, have like a good overview, but are not as deep as someone that, you know, works 24/7 in the sphere. And this is the same for, I guess, every like branch of grants. So tailor-made programs enable like, you know, onboarding of like specific experts that increase the overall outcome. And then if you have the data, you can, of course, like tie it back to, hey, how were the decisions made back then? I don't want to say that it shows that you made the wrong decisions, because most likely you made the right decision at the given moment. It just turned out in the end not to have been the best decision. So I think rather than, you know, saying, oh, damn, I made a wrong decision, it's better to focus on the future and make a better decision in the future for future cohorts, because everything in the end is also, you know, as Vlad already said, it's timing too, you know, like who knows, right? Like if the project would have launched like half a year later, maybe it would have been better. Maybe the market itself has gone down and, you know, you attribute it to your own decision. So that's the only thing you can do, is not only rely on your gut feeling, but also have data to back it up and then try to make the best possible decision going forward.
I like how you put it. And personally, on a life level, I agree that people usually behave and act in their best faith, only that they tend to do the best decision in that specific moment, but they may lack some objective info. And one last follow-up on this topic, you've mentioned how during kind of retrospective efforts in optimism governance, one active member of community, he decided to assess kind of what kind of effects and efforts and outputs the projects that received various types of grants in previous years. I think the post was from 2022. And in this report, it was framed like quite a big sum, like 6-figure sum in OP tokens was mismanaged, to put it in this way. So do you see that in this specific example in Optimism, they're making good efforts, in your personal opinion, not as even Areta, but your personal, if it's okay to ask, to iterate the value capture mechanism?
Sure. I mean, it's difficult to comment on the specific case that I also don't have top of my head now. But my personal feeling is that the grant program over all ecosystem is pretty much in a professionalizing direction at the moment. So learnings are implemented now all over the place. There are some smaller ecosystems that still have, grant applications opened and they don't give out grants anymore. And, you have this disconnect. But I think for the bigger ecosystems, everyone now, from my view, has the feeling, okay, how it's done so far is maybe not the best possible way to allocate money. We have to change some things. And I think the idea of tying, the funds to specific outcomes. So you go from spray and pray to spray and return, maybe to put it like that, is pretty present in all bigger ecosystems.
Makes perfect sense. And it's actually been 1 hour since we already started the stream, and we've probably went through quite a few topics and honest insight, real stories. And I thank everyone who tuned in. One thing we made clear is that getting a grant isn't just about filling out that form as SurveyMonkey, right? It's definitely about being really involved in what you're doing, showing that you want to bring value, and just having that clarity about your project, what you want to do, and how you can contribute to a specific need and to a specific ecosystem, and what this ecosystem can do for you. So we definitely have to build with keep building with intention, and focus on how we can move our projects forward. Before we wrap up, maybe last shout out or thanks or any development updates, something that people have to look forward to from any of you guys. Let's go just round by round as I see it on my screen. Dennis, just any closing words before we wrap up?
Sure. So first of all, thank you for the invitation and for the stage you gave me here. I think one very interesting news will be that's already partially out, is that the Uniswap Foundation Security Fund has been extended quite significantly. So looking forward to receiving a lot of new applications in the future, hopefully taking into account what the other guests and I shared today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure having you here. Vlad.
Yeah, as I started, we just released our product, so this will be very exciting for us and for me. A lot of sleepless night. So yeah,
where can people check it out? Where can they do it?
Yeah, where they can go to our Twitter, like ASPIS protocol, and they can see the latest post. It's there. So it's basically like Telegram bot that helps to manage your asset on our non-custodial vaults. So this brings a lot of flexibility to the DeFi. We're also working on the next version of contracts and making it multi-chain. So I think there is still a lot of work to do, but this as the first version, it's will be really nice. I mean, the first version in Telegram with the interface abstraction and AI.
Awesome, Vlad. Thank you. Congrats on the release. Aisha?
Yeah, so we're prepping for our greatest release yet. So it's going to be in the third quarter of this year. And what that means for you guys is that you're going to be you're eligible basically to make claims after the release. Make claims as in request for a payout for your beneficiaries, or your beneficiaries would request it in your place. Again, because it's like an alternative to life insurance. And then starting from that release, we're going to be rolling out our crypto card probably at Q4 of this year. So I'm looking forward to having you guys join the Life DAO.
Awesome, thank you. Make sure to follow Takadao on Twitter. Follow the news. Q3. Yevhen?
Yeah, thank you for the invitation to join this panel discussion about grants. It was a pleasure to discuss. Also, we are right now finishing our security audits for Uniswap, for new Uniswap before Hook. So follow us on Twitter, Lumis.fi, and we are about to release new cool stuff, new optimized liquidity solutions very soon.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you for sharing the insight. Thank you for participating, Vlady.
Well, spend time. As we can summarize, one of the outputs is that proper research pays off. So if you are under-invest in something during your preparation process, this shouldn't be research by any case, because if you do research properly, then all the efforts, all the following efforts you do will be doomed to be successful, to put it this way. So yeah.
For sure, makes perfect sense. Thank you. 423 people watching us. I want to thank every single person on Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn. Make sure to follow Hacken, and of course all the guests. We have all of their handles in the description of this stream. So very insightful, and I hope we can, and we will definitely host such similar live streams in the future. So make sure to follow Hacken on YouTube as well. And thank you very much, and take care.